in Cebu City before the sun has fully risen, and the streets are already alive with movement, tricycles passing slowly, vendors setting up small wooden stalls, and the smell of fried bread filling the humid air in a narrow alley. Behind a row of aging buildings, a young Filipino man named Mateo starts his day sweeping the pavement outside a small bakery where he works for barely enough money to survive. His shirt is faded, his pants are worn thin, and his shoes are cracked at the sole, but his eyes carry a quiet fire. Mateo hums softly as he works a tune that sounds strangely familiar, deep, smooth, and emotional. It's something from another era. People passing by slow their steps without realizing why, drawn to the sound as if it wraps around their hearts. Mateo does not sing loudly. He never does, because he has learned that dreams spoken too loudly can be crushed quickly. This voice was inherited from his father, a man who loved old Elvis Presley cassettes bought from a street market. Years ago, before his father passed away, those songs were the only luxury in their home. A tiny room with a leaking roof and walls stained by time, burnt roll, and thinking about the poster he saw yesterday pasted on a concrete wall. Ireland's Got Talent auditions open to the world. The words replay in his mind, like a challenge and a prayer. He has never left the Philippines, he has never been on a plane, he has barely been on a proper stage, but something inside him refuses to stay silent. Today after work, he walks home through crowded streets and finds his mother washing clothes by hand. She looks tired, but smiles when she sees him. He hesitates, then tells her about the audition. Her hands stop moving. She looks at him for a long moment, then nods slowly and tells him that voices like his are gifts, and gifts are meant to travel far. That night, Mateo packs his only decent shirt into a plastic bag and barely sleeps. Weeks later, the camera follows Mateo as he arrives in Ireland, the cold air biting into his skin, so different from Cebu City. His hands shake, not just from the weather, but from fear. The audition hall is enormous, bright lights reflecting off polished floors. Contestants laugh, practice, and chat, while Mateo sits alone, clutching his number. His clothes look simpler than everyone else, but he holds himself with quiet dignity. When his number is called, his legs feel weak, but he walks forward, remembering his mother's words. The stage feels unreal. Judges sit ahead, confident and relaxed, expecting the usual mix of talent and dreams. Mateo introduces himself softly, explaining he is from Cebu City and works in a bakery. One judge smiles kindly, another nods politely. None of them expect what is coming. The music begins slowly, a familiar Elvis-style melody filling the room. Mateo closes his eyes and sings. The first note is deep, warm, and powerful, instantly changing the atmosphere. The judges freeze. One leans forward, eyes wide. Another lifts a hand to their chest. The voice is not an imitation. It is something deeper, carrying the soul of Elvis, but mixed with Filipino pain and hope. Years of struggle flow through every note. The audience begins to murmur, then falls completely silent, as if afraid to break the spell. A judge whispers, "Oh, my God," under their breath. Tears begin to form in the eyes of the female judge as she watches this poor young man command the stage without moving an inch. As the song builds, Mateo's voice grows stronger, echoing through the hall. Each lyric feels personal, like a confession of hunger, loss, and unbreakable spirit. One judge wipes their eyes openly, no longer caring about cameras. Another shakes their head slowly, disbelief written across their face. When Mateo hits the high note, the room feels like it might shatter. Silence follows, heavy and emotional. Then the audience explodes into applause, cheers echoing endlessly. Judges stand without thinking, clapping above their heads. Tears fall freely. Now, one judge presses both hands over their face, overwhelmed, saying this feels impossible. Another stands and points at Mateo, saying, "I have never heard anything like this in my life." Mateo stands frozen, unsure how to react, his eyes filling with tears as well. He thinks of sweeping streets in Cebu City, of nights without electricity, of singing quietly so no one would laugh. The judges speak through emotion, telling him his voice is not just talent, but history, pain, and magic combined. One judge walks onto the stage and hugs him tightly, crying against his shoulder. The golden moment button is pressed and confetti rains down like a miracle. Matteo drops to his knees sobbing, unable to breathe through the emotion. The audience chants his name as if they have known him forever. Backstage, Matteo calls his mother, his voice shaking as he tells her they loved it. They cried. She cries too, laughing and praying at the